Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all so much for all that you do and for you being here today. Both of your testimonies highlight the importance of integrated deterrence for aligning department policies, resources, and activities to strengthen deterrence. An essential part of this is bolstering of our allies and partners to better deter our adversaries. General Milley, as you mentioned in your testimony, the U.S. must continue to strengthen our relationships by building our partners' capabilities to deter our adversaries. Recently, several European allies have stated their intent to purchase the F-35 fighter jet. Would Poland, Finland, and Germany having F-35s be helpful to our national security and deterrence against Russia and Europe? And going further, given the current situation and your best military advice, do you believe we should be assisting our European allies in training so they can receive the F-35s as soon as possible?
I do, and I think, first of all, it's an excellent capability. Secondly, I think interoperability with our allies is important, and I think the strength of the alliance is critical to the deterrence of any broader land conflict on the European continent.
Thank you, sir. Pre-positioned stocks are essential for the rapid mobilization and equipping of units during time of crisis. As you know, the Army activated its pre-positioned stocks in March of this year as the conflict in Ukraine escalated for the first in an unplanned contingency. I was happy to learn that these pre-positioned stocks allow an armor brigade combat team to deploy from the U.S. to Eastern Europe faster than Russian forces advanced from Belarus to Kiev. Understanding that pre-positioned stocks require military construction support and being the ranking member on the Military Construction Subcommittee, does the U.S. have pre-positioned stocks to respond to potential threats in the Pacific from China? Outside of Japan and South Korea, are there any plans to establish pre-positioned stocks? Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for what you did several years ago to enable what you just described in Europe there. The European Defense Initiative really laid the groundwork for, the pre-positioned stocks and some of the facilities that we use there. As you'll see, in terms of what we're investing in with the Pacific Deterrent Initiative, we are investing in infrastructure and a number of other things to ensure that we have capability further forward in the theater. So that's our goal, to make sure that we have that ability in the Indo-Pacific to a greater degree in the future.
Well, to follow up on that, our missile stockpiles are being stretched thin after years of producing at minimum rate of sustainment and increased demand resulting from the U.S. current efforts to bolster our Ukrainian defense. I think are stretching that very, very thin. I'm hearing from industry some of the challenges they face with trying to increase production rates while shortening lead times. How critical is it to maintain these stockpiles, and in what ways can the committee support you and industry to help ramp up production efforts to meet demand and replenish our stockpiles?
Well, it's very critical to make sure that we maintain what we consider to be our minimum required stockage levels. And you can rest assured that I will not allow us to go below that in critical munitions. We have met with industry. I think you saw us do this fairly early on and encourage them to work with us to begin to open up production lines to increase their production. And they are doing that. They're leaning forward. In some cases, a little bit more difficult to do than others, but industry has been very supportive. And so we'll continue to work with them. We'll continue to identify things that we need from you if a need arises. But to this point, I think we're in pretty good shape, and industry is responding.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.